In this video, I want to show you some examples of past student projects for the documentary assignment. These are all relatively successful projects, and they are on a range of subjects and a range of styles. Some of them are inside, some of them are outside. Some of them, many of them have people in them, but several of them do not. So I think you'll see that there's a wide range of approaches to this assignment. Now, I want you to pay attention in particular to the sequencing, the order that the photos go in, how each photo moves from one to the other and tells an overall narrative, as well as the content of the photos themselves, the editing. Notice that in these cases there's a careful choice of which photos to include so that each photo tells a different part of the overall story. Okay, well, let's get started. This first narrative, this first documentary project, is by a student who's a vet, and she wanted to make a project about the Sacramento Valley National Cemetery. So here's a nice opening shot that tells us where we're at and gives us an idea of what we're going to be looking at, nicely composed. The first few photos in this series, you'll see, have a kind of a somber, still, distanced quality, really nicely composed, lead us on a sort of a walk into the cemetery. But this documentary takes a very interesting turn at the end, and it's something I really like about it. So we've gone into the cemetery itself. And then we are joined by this pair of gentlemen who are visiting a grave. And it goes from being this very sort of distanced version of the cemetery and of this visit to something that becomes quite personal and quite emotional. And this is the very last photo in the series. It's very important in a series to think about ending on a very strong note. And I thought it was really successful to have this very poignant, but also very beautifully composed and exposed, a thoughtful photo at the end of this series. Okay, this next series is of a student who went to the air show one year, and I know this kind of photography will not be possible during this class, but it's just notice the narrative, notice the quality of the way this is put together. So we start with an opening sequence of people coming to the air show. I love the composition of this. People are settling in, getting ready. We see the planes, the background. And of course, people, a lot of the photos in this that I really love are people observing the air show, tilting their cameras up, the planes themselves. And then we get some beautiful aerial shots of the action of the air show. Love this juxtaposition, use of depth of field, some humor. What I really like in this series is that most of the scenes are actually of the crowd watching rather than the air show itself, but he includes a couple of really spectacular shots. And he ends with the reverse, with people going home. Really nice documentary. Okay, this next one was really fun and interesting. This is a documentary that a student made about the place where she's been working and her family has been working for a number of years. This is actually a company that produces billing statements for mobile homes. It's been around a long time, and so she started us at the entrance to the office. And then we come in to this pretty interesting place. She moves us around the office, shows us details of the files, of the workers, the machinery. I love this one shot of this. Someone who's worked there for a number of years, working on billing statements, but with this wonderful bulletin board, personal bulletin board in the background. Billing records. Back office. Detail of a worker. I love this shot of the dot matrix printers in operation. And this is sending out those billing statements. That's the boss. And then we exit the building. This student went and made photographs of Paradise soon after the fire. He actually had a career as a smoke jumper, and so he is familiar with the fire, and he wanted to make a document of the aftermath of that fire. This is without the people, really just showing the buildings and the damage and the aftermath. One of the things he did was incorporated signs, things connected to the area. Billboards and signs that have gone up, went up after the fire, and a couple of things that were there before. And he finished with this little local sign, the closed building. Okay, this next project has a very different concept. This is a student who likes to do food photography and cooking, and so she decided to document the making of this purple cabbage soup. So she starts with documenting the cutting of the vegetables, each ingredient separately. I like the range and variety of this. Then she begins the cooking process. Bay leaf, of course. Adding the cream. And the puree. And of course, the serving. So that's another kind of a documentary project that is something that could be managed very easily inside of your home. Oh, this was a lovely project that a student did a few years ago on his local barbershop. He made sure to get permission from the owner, went at a fairly busy time so he could get a range of people. And he spent some time really hanging out, catching the spirit and the mood of the place. I love this master shot. Notice he gets close-ups, details of people having their hair cut. I like that he gets the reverse shot of this young man and a detail of one of the patrons, as well as stepping back and getting the master shots. Love this one. We all know that ritual of looking at ourselves. Sweeping up. And I think that this was probably not the best choice for the final photo. but I think he struggled to find the perfect ending. Might have not been nice to reverse those last two. Here's a different kind of a project. This student did a documentary project of the wetlands in and around Solano County. So this is crosses over into landscape. Incorporated into the wetlands were photos of the birds who live in the wetlands, highlighting the importance of the wetlands and their preservation. Really nice range of shots. So there's a sameness, a connection, there's water in each shot, and yet she's really showing you different aspects of the same scene. And going back and forth between the detail shots of birds and the broader view of the wetlands. Really nice ending. Okay. A couple more. This actually was a really nice conceptual project. This is a documentary on the Laurel Creek walkway area in Fairfield. This is a place I walk myself now, and I learned about it through this student. It's a beautiful natural park right in the city that runs along a creek bed and has a lot of wildlife, but it also has, and we'll look at the wildlife, like ducks, other birds that hang out there, but it also has, unfortunately, a lot of trash. And so she did this documentary about her frustration with this really beautiful local treasure that has such a great sense of nature within the city and wildlife, and the abuse of people who use that area and don't clean up. I especially like this one. It has this really beautiful quality. It's a gorgeous kind of classical nature scene, and then when you get down to the bottom, you see that bit of debris. Squirrel and liquor bottles. Goldfinches, raven, and a lot of garbage. And she ends with this overview of that same path, looking a little bleaker, and with that one piece of trash in the middle. Really nice series. Okay, I believe this is the last one, and this is a more upbeat series. So this student decided to document her children and their friends creating a lemonade stand. So we start in the inside, documenting the getting ready for the lemonade stand, making the lemonade, getting the stand set up, excuse me, bringing in customers, the customers themselves, and really cute dog. Tips, which of course everybody likes. More working for customers. More working for customers. A little boy counting out his change to make sure he can afford the lemonade. Really great shot. And tearing the stand down and enjoying the spoils. Okay, I hope that gives you some ideas of the kinds of projects you might be able to do for this assignment, and just gives you an idea of what direction to go in.